What's up, everybody? Coming to you from the road because I'm impulsively needing to tell you that I think it's important, even if you're a highly intelligent, highly advanced biohacking type, to have an MD on board to go and pick their brain, or to set consultations with them and talk with them about stuff that maybe you're unsure about, or that you would like somebody else to weigh in. I have an endocrinologist, right? Let me just tell you about my endocrinologist. Guy is 60 years old. He has, in addition to medical school and then residency, and then I think he worked for a clinic thereafter. Then this guy worked in an ER, a fast-paced ER here in Pittsburgh, UPMC. And now he has his own practice for like 20 years. Highly intelligent guy, right? Has seen virtually everything. There may be times where, not that I don't understand the mechanism of action, but I'm curious about drug-drug interaction and the mechanisms therein. I'm curious about an effect from a pharmaceutical or a nutraceutical and what he may think about that. I'm curious. I don't go to him usually. I'm on TRT, HRT, I run that all myself, right? But I think it's also important to have an endocrinologist to weigh in on certain things as well. I mean, this guy's studied endocrinology, right? So, but I go to him typically, I'll book an appointment with his staff to go and pick his brain for a half an hour. Literally. This drug did this. What do you think about that? What's the mechanism of this? How far advanced is the medical field as it relates to this? Because I'll have situations and consultations where I would want to bounce it off my MD, my highly intelligent endocrinologist. And this guy sometimes, I'll understand a mechanism of something and or have a hypothesis about why something is happening. And then I'll go to him and have a conversation about it, and he'll go, "You're 75% right, but here's where you're wrong." And I fucking love that, dude. I don't know everything, right? I mean, there's just stuff that I love to bounce off of other highly intelligent, medically oriented people and get their take on it. So look, I see a lot of disparaging of MDs, and I understand, because as it relates to nootropics and the neurochemistry behind that and the application and usefulness of them, as well as some nutraceuticals, doctors basically have no idea. That's not their wheelhouse, right? They're operating within kind of a myopic, little construct of the medical industry, and where they really only have drugs to treat things. This is all we get. My doc will often say, if I'm referring to one thing or the other, well, this is all the medical establishment has, for this. And sometimes, I'll say things because I've taken deep dives into the research, and he'll go, "You're way ahead. I know the research says this. That's the research. That hasn't even been implemented in the medical field." So it's also useful to have a doctor around to understand what you're researching, which is true, and what you understand, which is true, but hasn't even been accepted mainstream in the medical establishment, right? Because they're very slow to accept things. Anyway, sometimes he'll tell me I'm wrong, and I love that too. And it's just useful. So I see guys disparaging MDs. Look, yeah, I get that they, aren't into anything else but the pharmaceuticals. However, sometimes it's very useful. I think it's very useful if you can find a good doctor, not your run-of-the-mill GP, good doctor, right? Who takes pride in getting into the research and understanding mechanisms. He's into it like a nerd. You want a doctor like that to be able to go to ask questions, even if you're a very highly intelligent, advanced biohacker, right? Because I book consultations with my endocrinologist, who's just a specialist in every fucking thing. I mean, the guy knows everything about everything. Once every 3 or 4 months, most of the time just to pick his brain, right? Want to share that with you folks. Hope you're doing great. Talk to you soon.